Humans see two main problems: climate challenges and a lack of thriving. It would be sufficient to stop doing what led to these two main problems in order to solve both. We see both these main problems as clearly associated, also because both climate challenges, including related calamities, and a lack of thriving are consequence of our unsustainable practices. We led ourselves to these two main problems because at some point in our human history we chose for unsustainable agriculture, instead of holding on or choosing for sustainable carbon agroforests. Proving that agriculture is unsustainable is simple and immediate. Agriculture is proven unsustainable because only in the last few decades, 35% of our agricultural soils worldwide became degenerated or unproductive. Until the year 2050, 90% of our agricultural soils worldwide will have become degenerated or unproductive. Even a child can understand that this will create serious challenges, this even long before the year 2050, or even that this close to 100% of all land being degenerated or unproductive is equal to a kind of an extinction of humans and an extinction of all domesticated animals. We are not even counting here with the sharply increasing numbers of calamities also worldwide. While a child can grasp all this, the collective of 8 billion humans does not seem to grasp the impacts of such soil degeneration or unproductivity, and does not even consider focusing or even mentioning on it and on what inevitably will come. As far as we know, soil degeneration and unproductivity of agricultural lands is not even a subject of this latest climate event. At least amongst related scientists it is well known that agriculture degenerates soils, and that agriculture, especially tilling, makes its organic materials oxidize. This way these degenerating soils will lose their fertility and emit their carbon into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Progress of agriculture cannot stop this degeneration. All the brilliant and much touted efforts and progress, indeed increase food production, but this comes at great cost. And worse always is only temporarily, simply because of the ever-associated degeneration that neither humans nor technology can solve, and that only carbon agroforests can permanently solve. This while laying the degenerating lands fallow or leaving the degenerated arable land unseeded for one or more growing seasons can only temporarily solve. So, all efforts other than switching to carbon agroforests come with a burden and are temporary, and consequently we 8 billion humans do not thrive. Worse, instead of thriving, we get more involved in conflicts for resources and land. Just changing from agriculture to carbon agroforests would solve all the problems, and as important would give us infinitively all we, our industries and economies need, and consequently we would thrive. Despite all this, we refuse to change from agriculture to the 100 times more productive carbon agroforests, and do not even talk about it, just as we do not talk about the soil degeneration. In the case of the general public this is probably so because the general public does not know the potentials of carbon agroforests, like for instance its extreme soil regenerating capacities, nor the dimension and impact of the ongoing soil degeneration, or even the existence of carbon agroforests. Also lobbies, influencers like Bill Gates, and other own interests, further distract us all the time from the only and obvious way we can solve and thrive. When we will change to carbon agroforests, or rather transform agricultural lands in carbon agroforests, all carbon dioxide will be removed out of the atmosphere, these new forests will cool locally and globally, will regulate climate, and we 8 billion humans will thrive, simply because we got rid of the burdens of agriculture, and also have all our primary input for free out of the atmosphere and from the sun. The primary input being carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and sunlight, with the intermediation of carbon agroforests. Once we have changed, we will clearly see that the regular climate events, the agreements or the eventually raised funds, were and always have been irrelevant or at best not solving, and possibly were totally or partially motivated by the own interests of certain parties, whether these had economic or political interests or both. Even if the regular climate events, the agreements or the eventually raised funds had not been irrelevant, their objectives were never met. Anyhow, once we have changed to carbon agroforests, all the claimed challenges will start to disappear, and not be there anymore in less than 20 years. What is a historical example and proof carbon agroforests work, and existed? LiDAR technology, and the presence of terra preta across the Amazon forest, proved to us that population densities in the Amazon forest were earlier and higher than they were in Europe. To some extent, the Amazon Amerindians of today still practice carbon agroforest practices extensively, remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and also thrive in health and in birth rates. Amazon Amerindian women, in medium, give birth and raise themselves 6 healthy children, this before they are 30 years old. This despite the fact that the Amazon Amerindians have none of what the rest of the world has: no roads, no healthcare, no doctors, no pharmacies, no police, no social security, no schools, no universities, no mayhouses or city houses. Note: the Amazon Amerindians extensively and successfully use the soil regeneration capacities of carbon agroforests. The Amazon Amerindians are kind of excluded from the world, and sometimes looked at and treated like animals in a zoo, and now also kind of excluded from the COP30. The Amazon Amerindian approach and eventual partners, with Amazon Amerindian-like carbon-agroforests, will provide all what our economies and we 8 billion humans need, and all output will be renewable and organic. Just as an example, all we buy and import from across the world, including from Russia, Iran, etc., today largely comes from expanding deforestations, mines, expanding drilling, and expanding fracking. In the case of carbon agroforests, all output will be renewable, as well as organic and non-toxic. This, for example, from carbon agroforests in South America, but ideally also from carbon agroforests across the world. These carbon agroforest materials will become ever more abundant and cheaper, while all traditional materials will become less available. And even for mining, drilling, and fracking, more expensive, and at some point depleted, something that could and most probably will cause additional as well as new conflicts and challenges. We will have to get to this agroforest economy one way or the other, which could be the hard way, that is if we do not get extinct in before. So instead of making us resilient for the perfect storm, this while preparing for the perfect storm clearly is impossible. This for a number of reasons, we would better do right away the right thing that will prevent and totally clear the perfect storm, including all fossil carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Anything other than doing the right thing right away, which are carbon agroforests, would be kind of self-destructive, and or kind of stupid at best. The thing is that we do not even look at what is doing the right thing. In some way doing the right thing, which is carbon agroforests, right away, most probably is related to what the Amazon Amerindians are trying to tell us, but they are not heard. The Amazon Amerindians know by heart that what they do is sustainable, as well as preserving the Amazon forest and themselves. After all, they were there, living and thriving in the Amazon forest, already when the Amazon forest was still recovering and expanding after the Ice Age. Today the relevant scientists are well aware that the Amazon Amerindians played a key role in the recovering and expanding of the Amazon forest after the Ice Age, and possibly long before. We guess the Amazon Amerindians at this point do not know themselves the full potential of carbon agroforests, and that is why it would be interesting or rather important that, apart from CEOs, they themselves would know all about the full potential of carbon agroforests, and of their own consequential full potential. This and other videos on this channel have been translated and or dubbed into more than 5 languages, including the official languages of the 9 Amazonian countries, this to support this initiative and plan to unite the 8 billion inhabitants of the planet around this action plan for carbon agroforestry, generating important jobs, new business opportunities, and boosting the economy. If you'd also like to support this initiative, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, ask a question, or give a like to this video.